to alternative sources of fuel. In order, so you see the likes of Danksem, you see the likes of WAPCO that sort of did that in order to boost their margins. Then also consumer goods as well, they raised prices, but in turn they also had to sort of get some of these raw materials locally. I mean, it's not, the impact is not there yet, but they're making strides in order to ensure that going forward, because this is one of the major factors that is actually going to drive sentiment. You look at the likes of 7-Up, I mean, they've made a loss so far in the year. If you look at their cost, it takes up a large, over 80% of their revenue. So you see that their margins are not quite, they've actually made a loss. So you look at 7-Up, flour mills, they have like a high percentage, sales, cost of sales actually eats up a large percentage of their revenue. So it's definitely something that these companies have to look forward to going forward. So
2018, in terms of the economy and the market, what do you consider as what should we look at as the fundamentals for those 5 key sectors on the stock exchange, the banks and insurance, consumer goods, industrial goods, and the oil and gas?
Okay, start off for the insurance sector, which is, I think one characteristic of that stock is that it's very illiquid. I mean, you wouldn't compare that to the banking stock, which are quite very, very liquid. So the insurance stocks, they have a downplay of regulation to look forward to in 2018. I mean, you're looking
at... there could be new regulation?
Yes.
In terms of...
Yeah, in terms of shoring up their capital base. I mean, if you look at the last capitalization exercise, you saw companies do, because you have the life, you have the non-life, the composite firms, we play in both segments, and you have the reinsurance firms. So you saw that these companies, they had to, from a low capital base of about 150 million, they had to shore up to about 2 billion naira. So if you still want to play in your own space, depending on which part of the insurance market you actually play in, you either have to merge or you have to get more capital.
So between recapitalization and consolidation, that will be, and risk management for the insurance. What should I be looking out for with the oil and gas?
Well, the oil and gas for the upstream players, it's still a positive story. I mean, production is still up. You look at global crude oil prices, they've stayed above $60 for the last few months. Q1 2018, we are looking at a low base. You look at oil production at that quarter of the year and compare it to the second half of 2017.
So I should have less worry with Seplat, for example?
Yeah, for the likes of Seplat, for the likes of Owando, for the first quarter of the year, they are dealing with a low base from Q1, from the first half of 2017.
You think there's a potential upside in price for Seplat? Let's leave Owando out of the conversation until they resolve some of the issues. You think there's a potential upside at 540 where it currently stands?
Well, definitely. If you look at the OPEC and non-OPEC deal, it's still extended till 2018. So that is still a positive for them. And like I said, investors are looking for positive earnings. They are looking for stability, and this is what is going to actually drive performance of these stocks.
So for the rest of that space, Mobil, Total, Forte Oil, MRS, the other retailers, what's your take on them?
Okay, for the downstream, it's still a bit uncertain because if you look at now, the existing pricing template is still not flexible. In order to remain profitable, they have to access FX at the official market. I mean, there's still that over-dependence on NNPC as a major supplier. So until that is sort of resolved, then we can see. And also there's this perception that some of these stocks are quite overvalued. So, so investors might not be too willing to play in that sector. And if you look at on a year-to-date basis, the oil and gas sector has sort of underperformed as compared to the other
indices. If I'm doing oil and gas in our market, what exactly am I looking for? What should I be looking for? Should I be looking at the petrol queues returning? Should I be looking at the price of petrol at the retail station? What exactly should I be looking for? Well, what should drive my sentiment, basically?
Well, definitely for the upstream guys, you know that for them to make profits, I mean, oil price has to stay above a certain mark, and as well as production volumes. I mean, if there's any resumption in militancy activities, this is going to affect the operation of some of these companies. So then, for the downstream guys, I mean, if per se we are looking at next year, early next year, there is perhaps a review of the pricing template, you see that it's going to be much more favorable for these downstream players.
Oh, okay, let's finish off in the consumer goods because that's what I eat every day. So I'm going to go back to where I put my stock where my mouth is and vice versa. What's the take on this sector moving forward in 2017 in terms of what is AfriInvest stock pick if you're looking at the new year?
Okay, for the consumer goods, they've sort of enjoyed a positive sentiment from investors this year. You look at the likes of Nestle, is over about 1,400 naira. Early this year, it was trading about 500 naira. You look at the likes of Dank Sugar, Dank Flour. I mean, they've sort of rallied this year. But then again, we sort of take a look at flour mills. I mean, they are currently ongoing on a rights issue, and the company is highly leveraged. So by the time they're able, if they have a successful rights issue, they're about to reduce their debt obligation, and this should impact on finance charges and sort of improve profitability. So this should have a positive impact. So our topic for the consumer goods is going to be flour mills. And also, NASCON is also a stock to watch out for. And they sort of diversified from just being a stock from a salt company to vegetable oil and tomato paste. And so it's definitely a stock to watch out for in 2018.
We have a lot to watch out for. But let's leave that conversation today to start the brand new week. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Obianiju Unsofo, one of the research and investment analyst team at AfriInvest. When we come back, bond is still in play. Buhari means bond. And one of his new babies go on the market today. The book building for the green bonds, 10.69 billion, starts right now.